Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Yo, you know how we do. This ain't no zoo, but we wildin' out like Lions crew. One ass cheek, 3 toes. That's the motto. OAC3T podcast. Let's get to it pronto. Got slinging that pitch, getting tight, spiral in the air. St. Brown making moves, leaving defenders in despair. Monty running through the D, breaking tackles all the way. Hutch on the hunt, ain't no escaping the day. One ass cheek, 3 toes. We coming for the throne. Detroit Lions roar, ain't no stopping our zone. From Ford Field to the streets, we represent the pride. One ass cheek, 3 toes. We on the ride.
Welcome to the show, fellas. This is the One Ass Cheek and 3 Toes. I am your host, Nate the Great, and I got my co-host here, Jay and B Strilla. How y'all fellas doing?
You know what? Not a good day today, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not a good day.
Not a good day in Michigan sports. I'll put it to you that way.
Oh yeah. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. But first off, we want to wish a happy Father's Day to all the fathers, past and present, out there. You know, shout out to the daddies, you know, that have stuck around with their kids and all that, and have been a good thing in their lives. Shout out to them. I know the dads don't get a lot of love. Definitely get more crap than we get love sometimes. So, you know, this is their day. It's our day.
What up, Monkey?
What's up, Monkey?
So yeah. Shout out to all the daddies out there, man. I hope you all are having a beer and some barbecue and some good old times.
Something. There
you go. Some something too.
Happy Father's Day, everybody out there.
Don't we become any more baby daddies out there? Gotta have some fun with that. All right. Hey, whatever happens.
What's up, Sonia?
What's up, Sonia? Hey, whatever happens in Rome.
What's up, Sonia?
Whatever. Hey, just wrap it up, man.
hey, really quick. Can I give a shout out to the dude who made our intro, man? Like,
yeah,
that's just perfect, dude. Like, I gotta really admire that, man.
It's a collaboration of Bees put together and the guy who created it.
Yes.
So both of y'all think about it. That's some fire stuff. Yeah.
You too, B, man.
He's always adding more stuff to the show. It's kind of exciting. It's like Christmas every day.
Yeah,
we get on the
it
show.
Is. I
don't know what to expect. You know,
something new.
I try.
I swear, I feel like every time we
there
log
you go.
on,
You're doing a good job. Yeah. So
Thank
yeah,
you,
it's
Sonia.
fire. Absolutely. All right. Enough of the mushy stuff here. All right, let's get into business.
I'm the producer, but anyway.
Exactly, producer. All right, let's get into the business. So, I had to drink some water there. What the hell happened to the Panthers? Damn. That's all I can say. Damn. 56 to what was it? What was it? What the final?
58 to 34. 58 to 34.
34. All right.
And the DC defenders scored the most points in UFL championship history. Be it it's only 3 years 3 years old, but whatever.
Once again, Michigan is on the bad side of history again. Just real quick thoughts. I mean, I watched the game sparingly because I was watching the Yankees and Red Sox series, but like every time I turned the TV on, somebody was scoring for the DC Defenders. So that just tells you right there.
Thanks, Sonia. Thank you so much, Sonia.
But yeah, y'all just give me some quick thoughts on this, and we won't.
Yeah, you know, I was watching it at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was watching it at the bar, and at first they seemed to be doing good. You know, the defense seemed to be like standing out, but as the game progressed, they just looked horrible. And that secondary looked bad, man. Like, what happened, dude? I think I could have caught over 100 yards on that secondary. Seriously.
Yeah, that secondary was horrible.
Horrible.
That's what they need to revamp that in the offseason. They need to get rid of everybody on there. Even Nakua. Nakua is looking bad out there.
Well, that's the great thing about the UFL is that a lot of these players are like near 30 themselves. So they're just going to reshuffle these players out and try to go and draft some college players coming in. You know, honestly, the whole product's bad. It's just bad. You know, like I was really excited when it first came out because I thought that people were really going to put their arms around it and really embrace it. But it's just, I don't know what needs to happen.
I think they just need to add more teams to it. I think that it's, you know, it was started out. It's kind of like when the USFL first started out. It only had a few teams in it. And the only thing difference about the USFL to the UFL starting off is the USFL would bring college players in there, and these would be high-end college players. These weren't, Joe Schmo off the street. This is like, they had what's his face? They had Anthony Carter on there. They had Bobby Hebert. I'm just naming Panther players, but Herschel Walker was one from there. Jim Kelly was a player from
Reggie
there.
White played in the USFL.
Yeah. Yep.
Reggie White.
I think I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if y'all had heard the rumors. I think I put it out there in the chat about maybe a couple of weeks ago, but Tom Brady was talking about maybe buying the UFL from Danny Garcia and Dwayne Johnson. And hey, kudos to Danny Garcia and Dwayne Johnson for putting it together. I'm glad they brought it. But let's be real. We got to get some football heads in there. Yeah. We got to get somebody who knows football, knows how to market, and Tom Brady's the kind of guy that would do that. And I think like B said, I think like B said, bringing in college players that don't get drafted, that's a good start right there. Because a lot of the players are pretty old. Like people forget, like they think they're young players. They're pretty old. They're like almost 30 years old. Like some of these guys. Yeah.
Another thing too about the USFL compared to the UFL, they paid them players to play. And that's the reason why you had a lot of high-end players playing the USFL before they went to the NFL. That was supposed to be the jump start. College, USFL, and then NFL. And the USFL folded because they mismanaged their money. So I just hope that, they get back to that, because that's what really made the USFL really fun. When Michigan Panthers, the Philadelphia Stars, the New Jersey Generals, they had a lot of iconic teams in that league. So I hope they bring it back.
And also, and you also think about this, like it's going to be different. It's going to be kind of hard to put it that way again.
Hey, Brent.
Considering you got a lot of kids coming out of high school getting paid $13 million to go to a college because of NIL. Sure. So they don't need to go to USFL anymore. And
if they don't, what I'm saying is they don't get drafted. Like if they don't go to get drafted and they don't make an NFL roster, those guys should be premier players to play in the UFL, because then they're going to get more looks, and then the scouts can look at them, and then maybe they bring them on to an NFL roster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the thing is also too, and I love The Rock. Rock is one of my favorite people, but he's got a lot of hands and fires in a lot of things. Like, and the UFL is not one of his babies that he's really taken a real shine to. He maybe did in the beginning, but once they merge, it's almost like he doesn't give a shit. Like it's like, whatever. I'm still there, but I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? Because have you even seen him? I haven't seen him. I see Danny Garcia on TV. Yeah, I see Danny Garcia more on TV than
when he first made the inception of it, he was there a lot. But then after a couple of seasons, he hasn't been around. But I understand that from a perspective that The Rock has a lot of stuff. Like you said, he's got a lot of stirs and Kool-Aid. So I just
a guy like Tom Brady makes sense, because Tom Brady is an NFL.
And Tom Brady's not going to be there either, because Tom Brady's got to be the GM. He's part of the Raiders ownership. He does TV too. So he's in a lot of stuff too. But he might have some insight. I might have some better insight than The Rock, because he's played in the league. He's played in the NFL 100%. For a long time.
And he knows people that would buy into that market and want to buy that league. He's not going to buy it.
Well, The Rock is a football player. He was an ex-football player, but he didn't play long at all. And you do have that. So I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, to wrap up, I don't know. Maybe
I don't know about all that,
but to wrap up the Panthers season in a nutshell, they played well at times. They played bad at times, and they got plowed in the championship again by another team from Washington. What the hell is going on?
Right.
That's like becoming our kryptonite now. Like any Washington team, what's going on?
We got to break that shit after this coming week.
Which was hilarious too, because they played a very good game against the the Stallions in the first playoff game.
Right. Yeah.
And they went to Birmingham and beat the snot out of Birmingham. That was a team they could never get over. And now it's like, then they go and they lay an A in the championship. It's like, dude, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. Nolan,
Real quick.
I do think that Nolan is he's a good coach, but he's not a great coach.
Do you so do you bring back Nolan, or do you look for another coach?
I don't know. I would probably bring back another. I don't like the 2 quarterback situation he was doing in the beginning, and then when he found out, just about midway through the season, or almost midway, a third through the season, that this is not working with Etlin. Etlin is a terrible quarterback. I'm sorry, he's crap.
He can call the play. He can call the play, but he can't execute it
ever since they brought the team back. Etlin been there since they brought the team back, so it's just like,
yeah.
Did y'all see when he was calling the play for the guy on the TV, and that was Perkins got sacked, and he's just like, oh shit.
He was like, yeah, that was just a good play by the defense.
Like, shit, that was hilarious.
He probably in his mind he was like, good.
His face was hilarious.
It's probably like good. He got sacked. Great, awesome. Because I'm not starting.
Makes me look better.
Oh, look at Sonya. Go ahead, Sonya.
Thank you, Sonya. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Sonya. All right. Well, good luck to the Panthers in the offseason. Hopefully you draft some players. Whether they bring back Nolan, I don't think they will. I think they'll look for another coach. We'll see. You don't lose the game letting 56 points and come back in the next season. I think they'll find somebody else.
That's the question.
I don't know. I mean, that wherever they want.
And in order for you to bring in somebody, you got to have your mind already dead set on a person. And that person that fits your team, fit the culture, and can make a change.
I don't know where they get these coaches from. I know Nolan was the former NFL coach, but I don't know where he gets some of these coaches from, because some of these coaches I've never heard of. Like the DC coach, I never know who that was.
Those are guys from college, college players. In fact, it's funny because Nolan was probably, I think, the Birmingham Stallions coach is also from the NFL. He's a pretty well-known coach, and Nolan was in San Francisco. So he played, he coached for San Francisco. So with all that said, done, though, you can understand why he doesn't coach an NFL team now. But
there's another thing too, is that a lot of this league, they shuffle their players around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
The more likely if one team fires their coach, they might be an option for the Panthers if they fire Nolan, and round and round we go. But anyways, sorry,
it was just bad. I mean, I would keep the front 7, but I would get rid of the back 4. Man, those guys are horrible. Even our best safety was horrible. So
fire the DB's coach, whoever the hell the DB's coach is. Fire that guy.
Fire everybody on the DB side. That's what they needed to do.
There you go.
And they were looking good in the beginning, like Jay said, they were looking good in the beginning. But once they got behind, once they had that one drive where they had a punt. It wasn't the same after that.
It was like a totally different team right there.
Mm-hmm.
They looked like they were unprepared, undisciplined, and could not figure out their assignments. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I've seen a football game that bad in a very long time.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Denver when they used to go to Super Bowls early, and Elway would get slaughtered by other teams because they had no running game, and their defense couldn't stop anybody. So yeah, it was bad. But you know what? I tell you what, they had the best intro though. Their intro was way better than DC's.
Yeah, right.
That's the only thing they won.
How about that halftime show? Who the hell was that band?
Yeah, see, the USFL wouldn't have done that. USFL didn't do that in their halftime shows. They had people out there that you knew. It's like a backyard football game that they're playing. This is UFL's got to promote. You can get money. Money is everywhere. So pour some money into it. And then on top of that, I mean, look at it this way too. I mean, at least Michigan's been in at least 3 championships, because they played the Philadelphia Stars the year after they won the first very ever USFL championship. So they've been in 3, which is sad because the Lions ain't been in 1 since then. So
can we not talk about that?
On that note, On that note, thank you very much for that, B.
Brent,
Let's move on.
I love that, Brent.
All right, Jay. The show's yours, man. What you got today?
All right. I want to ask you guys a question really quick. I did a little bit of research this week, and I was trying to research who were the top 5 not defensive players, but top 5 players on the Detroit Lions. Can anybody name them in order?
In order?
Well, who is this based on?
Sewell.
Based on PFF.
Oh, PFF.
Oh, PFF.
Penei Sewell's number 1, right?
There's a lot of guys on PFF that for the Lions.
I think Penei's number 1.
No, it's Aiden Hutchinson.
What?
Aiden Hutchinson. They had Aiden Hutchinson.
Really?
The best.
Broke leg Aiden Hutchinson.
The best player on the Detroit Lions. At number 2, they had Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Right. Anybody want to take 3, 4, and 5?
Amon-Ra.
3 would probably be Amon-Ra. 4 would probably be Kirby. Because you got to have some defensive.
Branch.
Nope. None of them made the list.
No defensive players?
No defensive
besides
players.
Aiden?
Besides Hutchinson. At number 4, you had Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was going to say
and
Gibbs,
at 5, you had Jared Goff.
Wow, okay.
No.
Jared Goff.
I mean, hell, you mentioned 3 players aren't even on the list, and now I would argue they should be on that list.
Yeah, I know, right?
So that even says more about our team.
But where would you put Kirby Joseph, and who would you take out of the top 5?
I probably
I probably wouldn't.
You know, like think about that.
I was looking at that same PFF. I didn't see they had the top 5 guys. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I was paying attention of all the players of the PFF. They gave some pretty high marks to everybody on that team.
I love Aiden being number 1, but I would put Penei Sewell number 1 because Penei Sewell's had a longer career, more accolades. Like, I'm not saying Aiden can't be that number 1 player, but Penei Sewell is already that guy. Like, you're talking about a future Hall of Famer, All-Pro every year. If God willing, he just stays healthy and keeps finding his game. You know, Aiden, I still need to see some from.
Can I say 1A, 1B? Because while I agree with you, I look at it this way. I think that Penei Sewell's role may be a little bit more critical, and reason being is because he's Jared Goff's guy. And to keep this Lions team going in the offense.
Well, he's now the linchpin of the offensive line with Frank gone.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you need that Penei Sewell right there. And by him being so good at a young age, I think that you can make an argument for him to be number 1. But Hutchinson really turned this whole city around. Superstar status. But Penei Sewell doesn't get that type of status. But Hutchinson brings the superstar status. He brings that hometown kind of mindset, attitude that a lot of people in Detroit really like. Yeah. I think they recognize Aiden Hutchinson a little bit more than they would Penei Sewell.
And outside of oh, go ahead.
No. I'm just gonna say I think that's the reason why you could put Aiden Hutchinson number 1, but that's hard.
Yeah, that's fair because outside of Ndamukong Suh, he's probably the most popular defensive player we've had in a long time. Like people love Suh. You know,
definitely a very long side.
What's going on, James? J Trey.
What's up, James? Yeah,
but,
man.
I mean, I can't argue with the list. I mean, I think Jahmyr Gibbs. You could argue maybe Kirby could go in Jahmyr Gibbs' spot, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a damn good running back. And he's really going to have a great year. Yeah.
So think about this: if Saquon Barkley had not been let's say he was with the Giants still, and Derrick Henry was still with the Titans, Jahmyr Gibbs probably would have been ranked number 1 when it comes to, running backs.
Possible.
Could we agree with that? Because he played on a really good offense.
He's a top 3 running back in my opinion.
Yeah,
right
definitely.
Now. I mean,
and in my opinion, I'm going to argue and say right now, I think he's better than Derrick Henry.
Well, you got to see. This is where things get a little bit shady in certain saying who's the best running back. I mean, every running back has their own style of running. Derrick Henry is a big boy. It's like trying to take on a defensive end when he's running, and he's got good speed. I mean,
I think you can make the argument.
If Derrick Henry didn't get 1,000 yards every season, I would, and he was like a 500-yard running back. Then I would say, yeah, you could put Gibbs up there. But I mean, he's unstoppable. Once you get Derrick Henry going, dude, he can run you over.
Yeah,
it's like plenty of film showing that.
It's exactly. Like as soon as you hit the open field, it's just like let him go because you're not bringing him down.
And honestly, Jay, if you want to make the comparison, I would say Saquon, because if you look at Saquon's early part of his career compared to Gibbs' career, it's probably similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Saquon really hadn't really made his mark until this last year.
Yeah.
And Gibbs is a lot younger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going to say that. This is his second year. And if you remember,
2,000 yards, so did Saquon. Saquon had over 2,000.
Yeah. But I think if you're going to make a fair comparison, that's a better comparison because, like B said, Derrick Henry's a defensive end running the ball. Like the guy is a mammoth of a man.
A defensive end,
mammoth.
And then you got to look at it this way too. Both of those are primary running backs on their team. Sure. Jahmyr Gibbs had to share his time with Montgomery. So, if you look at that, that tells you how good of a running back Jahmyr Gibbs is actually. Yeah.
And he hasn't even scratched the surface of how good he can be.
And let's be honest, I love
David
Montgomery. I'm pretty sure we all love Knuckles, right? But when he went down, that offense didn't miss a beat. They didn't.
Because that's why Ja's a superstar in the making. Because
that Ja effect is,
you don't miss a beat, you're the guy.
Yeah, he went out there. He literally carried that running game as much as they needed him. He picked up every single yard, gritty yards, whatever yards he needed. Jahmyr Gibbs got him. And
dude had 7.5 yards in the playoff game. 7.5 yards in a playoff game, dude. I know Washington's defense ain't crap, but still.
That's good. That's crazy, right? Like,
but the thing is, like, how good of that is to have in the back of your pocket. Like, unfortunately, we don't want to see Knuckles go down. But if he did go down, Gibbs is not afraid to take on that load, and you don't miss a beat.
Not at all.
And you just have Craig Reynolds to spell him a little bit, and you're fine. Like that's a sign of a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can take over, and you don't miss a beat.
Now, do you really quick before I move on to my next question? Now, do you guys think that if David Montgomery gets hurt again this season, let me knock on some wood, do you think that the Lions will have to go out and try to draft another running back in the draft?
No, because they got Sion Vaki.
You think so, yeah. B, and no, Brian, Nate, you don't.
What's that?
You think so, B, and Nate, you don't think so, right?
About what? Say that again.
If David Montgomery gets injured again, they have to draft a running back in the next draft?
No, I don't agree with that. I think they got capable backup running backs right now. I think Vaki is one of the guys that they're trying to.
And they like Reynolds. Yeah.
And they like Reynolds. Reynolds is going to have to go pretty soon too because he's getting older, and the backup role for an older running back is not a good thing. You want to get fresher. I mean, eventually they are going to have to draft a running back because our running back room is great right now.
It's great.
And if we lose a couple, I mean, Craig and Montgomery are up there in years, so you're going to have to eventually, draft a running back. But I don't think it's anytime soon. I think it might be like a couple of years from now.
Okay.
So I think you'll have that answer to the question in the preseason this year, Jay, because with Tashard Choice, who was one of the best running backs coaches in college, and let him get with Vaki, because we already know what Gibbs and Knuckles can do. Like, let's see what he does with Vaki, and you see in the preseason. Because remember, Vaki had some really good runs in the preseason last year.
Oh yeah,
he turned some heads, and let's see what he does with a new running backs coach that probably has a little bit more of a touch on the running backs than maybe Montgomery did. And let's see what he does, because if he struggles, then I think that your answer to the question that they probably will look for one in the draft. But if Vaki shines, then you just have another guy in the stable that you're going to have to find ways to get him on the field.
Yeah. I think right now, because of the injury to Monty last season, they're going to step up the process of getting these running backs in there, because I think Vaki will be one guy that that Choice looks at a lot, because he needs to step his game. All the impressive stuff that he did in the preseason didn't translate into the regular season. He had a 2.3 average carry in the preseason. I mean, in the regular season. So, I mean, he's got to get better. Obviously, he's got to get better. So, if you want to keep him on the team and take over Netflix's spot when Netflix leaves, or even if Netflix doesn't play as well as he's been playing as a backup, then we got to get him going, because we spent a draft pick on him.
And you're going to see a lot of opportunity in this preseason, because Knuckles will not play any preseason. Gibbs will not play any preseason. It's mostly going to be Craig Reynolds, Vaki, and
what's up, Steve-O? Goff has how many years Goff had? 2 or 3? Oh yeah, when they signed his contract last year, right?
Only, so it's only year 2.
3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3. 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. What else you got, Jay?
Last question. So, as everybody know, obviously Frank Ragnow retired, and that's kind of a big blow to our team, period, because Frank Ragnow, I seen he played over 5,500 snaps in his career and only given up 6 sacks.
That's Craig. That's Craig Reynolds, James.
Craig Reynolds.
Inside joke on that one.
Yeah.
So he only gave up 6 sacks on 5,500 snaps. That is like Hall of Fame numbers right there. Yeah. And obviously everybody's going to miss him, but I couldn't sleep last night, so I did a little bit of research. Vegas still have the Lions go at 10.5 wins. What are you guys thinking on that? Now with the departure of, probably your second best offensive lineman and coming in with different coordinators, what are you guys thinking about our team? Do you say over 10.5 still?
I'd say about 10. I would say about 11 or 12 wins. They should disrupt. Okay. I don't think. See, people are making so much of the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator situation. Who was the Super Bowl winner this year? Wasn't the Philadelphia Eagles? Didn't they have a new offensive and defensive coordinators going into the Super Bowl?
They did. They did.
And B, they had issues too with their center. Remember, Kelsey was replaced this year.
Kelsey retired. Yeah, you're right.
So he retired. So they had to put a new center in there too, and he did a pretty good damn job. So I'm not. Frank is one of those players. I'm not saying nothing against Frank. Frank is obviously
he's one of one. He's one of one.
He's one of one, right? But you're gonna have to. You're human beings. They got to retire. They're gonna get hurt, whatever the case may be. So you got to have a plan for that. And I think the Lions have done a good job making that plan come to fruition.
I agree. And something, remember a lot of people, including myself, I'm guilty. We're kind of questioning why Brad Holmes took 2 offensive linemen in the draft. And I was kind of puzzled, like, well, you need more help on defense. But it kind of makes sense now that they knew that Frank Ragnow was ending, may possibly end his career, long story short. So they went out and they got 2 people. One could actually play center and played center before.
Well, I mean, he's not. No, he does. He's never played that position in his entire career, but he is going to be made to play that position because it's a whole interesting concept with the offensive line and how they're going to do it. I still think Glasgow's going to start. I think that he's going to be in there because of the veteranship that he has.
That's just Hank being Hank. Hank cross trains everybody.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say I think Hank Fraley is going to do a really good job with him, and I wouldn't be surprised by Thanksgiving that you could possibly see him getting reps at center. That's just me though.
Yeah,
I think this is what I think with the center position. Graham for the foreseeable future is going to be the starting center. And then when Graham's contract's up, Tate's going to take over that spot.
Yeah, I mean,
unless they stumble upon another center that they feel more comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'll be waiting. He'll be waiting
in the running back. Yeah, Anthony Tyrus III. He's on the Lions depth chart as well. That's who Brent's talking about. And
he's like a scat back. He's kind of like a scat back.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the podcast. I really want to.
Yeah. I love St. Brown's podcast.
I see clips of it, but I have never watched it.
Yeah, they're both hilarious.
I love how they throw shade. He throws shade at his brother all the time because his brother sucks so bad.
That's just like a brotherly type, rivalry.
But he talks so much mess. I'm like, dude, you suck, dude. You're not even close to your brother in any aspect.
He's the oldest brother. He wants to.
Yeah.
I think.
No.
Osiris is Amon is the youngest. Osiris is the second.
Yeah. Like they all throw shade at him. They're like, because They're the older brothers. So
but Osiris doesn't play. He doesn't play football anymore.
Is Equinemius even on a team right now?
Yeah, he's on New Orleans still. He's still on the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Osiris,
he's a practice squad guy, but he's still on there.
Osiris, I think he had an injury in college that really just ended his career, right? So
I don't think he didn't have the skill set that either one of his other brothers had. I think that was he played football. I think he got disinterested in it for other things that he wanted to do with his life. And I think they had a podcast about this whole situation too. Oh, we got a stupid question. Those questions are stupid, Brett.
Could Gigi play
right guard and call a protection scheme at Ratledge at center?
Probably not.
I don't.
You want to build that chemistry with your center and Goff.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. Yeah, you want your veteran to play the center and call out the schemes. I mean, Glasgow is not a rag now. No, he does have the veteran leadership.
And if you want Radledge to call out the protections, you might as well just start him.
Right.
Let him learn by fire.
Mm-hmm. And we don't want that. I don't want my rookie learning by fire when we're trying to win games. That's the point.
That's the hard part, because you do want him to get live game reps, but you're also trying to win the division.
Let him play that right guard slot where Glasgow was at, and just let him learn professional football for a season first, and then put him back into that center position. Or if Glasgow, truth be forbidden, that he gets hurt, then he'll have to learn. Then he'll have to learn under fire. But just keep it simple for right now.
Let's not hope that
the KISS
happens.
rule.
Please,
keep it
God.
simple, stupid. That's what we
pretty
got.
much. All right, Jay. Anything else? What you got?
Nope, that's it. That last question concludes.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir.
So now we're just going to kind of open it up to discussion. Like I said, this is very slow times right now for the Lions. Exciting times, but in general, it's like the dog days really of summer. But I was thinking about a question that I want to ask y'all, and I think it's going to lead to a lot more debate. So this is why I'm asking the question. So, B has gone on record many times, whether it's been on this podcast or off this podcast, saying that it's the Lions need to win a Super Bowl in year 5. Okay. And I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, if the Lions don't win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl, what direction, what feeling, what should be thought of or discussed about the Lions after that?
If the Lions don't win a Super Bowl this year, what direction?
He might not play off 7.
Like, how are you feeling about the trajectory of this team going forward?
I would say that they would need to retool a bit. I won't say rebuild, because obviously you got a lot of good players on that.
Elaborate on that retool.
Retooling mean that you probably shift around a couple players, and I definitely say that as much as I like Jared Goff, that I think that he'd have to be probably one of the people to leave, because he takes up a lot of the salary cap, one, with his big contract.
You would get rid of Jared Goff after they don't win it this year?
If they don't win it, that would be me, but I know they won't do it, obviously, because of the salary, the cap hit with his contract. And I think that.
And not mention they don't have an answer. Who's going to play quarterback after that?
I'd say they have to give up. I'd say they have to give up a couple, maybe a piece or two. It probably have to be somebody that a part of our young core, to go out and try to at least draft a quarterback, because, I mean, let's just be honest. I look at a team like San Francisco. I remember when San Francisco moved on from Garoppolo to try to trade up and get Lance. Even though it didn't work, they went out and they did a bold move to try to, get that quarterback that they needed. And they kind of mortgaged their future. They gave up a couple first-round picks. They were really good. Yeah, they gave up a lot of their future first-round picks, and they got Trey Lance, even though it didn't work. I mean, it still kind of worked out in their favor that they had Brock Purdy, and they still had a lot of good talent on their team.
Well, that was a chance they took right there.
Well,
Mr. Irrelevant, starting.
Yeah. Now, really quick, I just got a quick question. Now, do you guys think he deserved that contract, and do you think that he's a product of his environment, or do you think he's really that good of a quarterback?
They had no choice; they had to pay him.
Well, I mean, they didn't have to. They could have went somewhere else.
But again, anytime you want to replace a quarterback, my question is, who's your answer? You know,
like the Lions. Steve-O is a San Francisco 49er fan. I would want to ask Steve-O that question.
Mac and Cheese is their backup.
Yeah.
You know, and they might have. The only thing I could say is they might have got Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is from California. He played at Cal. He lives in California, so that could have been a possibility.
And that never really ever translates to anything because we always talk about that. Oh, well, he's from here. He would be a great fit on their team, blah, blah, blah. But that usually never happens anymore.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying like this, but he's always been a Niners fan his whole career. So for him to finish a career as a Niner, living his dream, I'm just saying that could have gone to fruition if the Purdy talks would have fell. But I didn't think they were ever not going to re-sign Purdy. It's just a matter of how much he was going to ask for. And he apparently asked for a lot.
You know
the
what?
Niners had to come down on him.
I just really think that the Niners are really serious about winning Super Bowls and contending. I don't think they wanted to bring in Aaron Rodgers.
They have an older team. They have to.
How toxic he is. And and when I say this, I mean, as just a football player, not as a person, but, you know, Aaron Rodgers have done some good things, but he's not himself. And he really wants ownership wherever he goes. We kind of seen that with the Jets. And we'll see what he does with the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. But
okay,
I think, you know, I don't think that Lynch would have wanted him in that locker room. I'm just going to be honest. With how vocal Shanahan is over there, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers would have had much of a voice over there either. So
for sure. Let's keep it back on the Lions. So you basically are saying your point would be to trade Jared Goff and then kind of take a little step back.
Yeah, and maybe like a first round pick or two to try to get a guy that you really want.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're trading Jared Goff, you're asking for first round picks. Like he's still a first round guy you can get a picks for. So
yeah.
Okay. So basically, we'd be redoing what the Stafford thing did. We traded an older quarterback and try to get some draft picks and reset the quarterback. Okay.
Yeah. Rookie contract, bring in somebody.
Got you. Okay.
Insulate him a little bit more.
Okay. B, what would you say? Because you've been very vocal about the fact is that you say we got to win it this year. It's 5 years. So how are you going to feel if we don't do it?
And that's based on just my opinion.
No, it's fine. I'm just
saying it to me. You've had 4 years to get it, and they almost got to the championship. What, the third year that they were in they had in this regime, and then of course last year they took a step up by winning the conference, the number 1 seed in the conference, and winning their division. Never be 15-2. Don't wish for your team to ever be 15-2 because it never works. But I think this year, I really think this is a year they can get in the Super Bowl. I think they have a lot of every game is going to be a playoff game for them. You got to think about that. They're playing a number 1 schedule. They got a tough division. I mean, whether we clown, our division rivals.
We just need to talk about the division right now.
The division. The hard part. I mean, as much as we clown our rivals, they are very good teams. I mean, there's really not any of them that are weak. Even Chicago is going to be stepping up. So, I mean, and then we got to play Philadelphia. We got to play
Rams,
the Baltimore Ravens. We got to play the Rams. We got to play the Cincinnati. Although I'm not worried about Cincinnati because they suck in the defense. That's not going to be nothing.
Knew that was coming.
And then, we still got to play Washington again. We got to go to their house this time. So I mean, we have a lot of games that we need that are playoff games, basically in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we come out the gate playing Green Bay. In Lambeau, as much as we joke about we own Lambeau, but the Green Bay is still a team you gotta reckon with, and then we gotta play Chicago. Who knows how Chicago's going to look this time when they come?
Two divisional games. Ben Johnson coming back into town.
Yeah. So I mean, it's if this is the year that they're gonna win, this is the year they're gonna win the Super. They're gonna be in the Super Bowl at least. I hope for they win. Yeah. But at the same time, this is the year that they should be going to the Super Bowl. And if they don't go to the Super Bowl this year, it's just a timeline I set for myself and believing in the Lions. I believe, though, that as long as they have this formula with Sheila and Dan and the rest of the staff that they have right now, they're going to still be successful. But I want results. And every year, everybody, makes jokes about the Lions. They ain't gonna never win a Super Bowl. They ain't gonna do this and they ain't gonna do that. See, I'm always the person that, hey, I'm a fan of a team. They need to win the Super Bowl. I'm in it for the win the Super Bowl. I'm not in it for rebuilding. I'm not in it for making the playoffs. That's cute. I'm not in it for winning the division. Let's win a Super Bowl. It's kind of like the same thing about Michigan. Jay knows this. Michigan. We're not playing for Big Ten titles. We're playing for national championships. That's what we're playing for. That's what the Lions have to have that mentality. And I know it's a one step at a time.
Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah. And you want to know something though? Yeah, and you know something though, these past couple of years, they have been having that mindset like, hey, Dan Campbell came out and said, hey, I want the whole spot last year. Panay Sewell, he said it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Super Bowl or bust. Abe Hutchinson talks about it. That team is developing a mindset of being championship contenders, not just in the playoffs, not just a team to say, hey, we beat Green Bay or beat Chicago. We want to win the Super Bowl. And
when you make it to the NFC Championship, your goal should be the Super Bowl because there should be nothing less. Because that's the ultimate mark to get to the Super Bowl right there.
Absolutely. And B, I agree with you. The whole Michigan analogy is great. You want to have that mindset of championships. Like, if you look at teams that constantly that are constantly in the playoffs and make it to Super Bowls, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Kansas City, they don't talk about just beating their rivals or, oh, we're just going to play and have fun. They're talking about winning championships. And if their team don't produce, the coach, the GM, everybody, the owner has to get up on that podium and talk. And they don't want to be probed by media members and fans. They want to go out there and explain why they're the best team and why they're going to win the Super Bowl. Not why they failed or not, oh, we made it to the playoffs, so let's enjoy it. No, they want to talk about championships. And as much as I hate the Packers, you know what they call their city? They call it Title Town. They expect every single year, no matter how bad they are, no matter who their quarterback, running back, coach is, they are talking about titles. And this is our year to win the Super Bowl.
Good teams do this. I mean, every good team in New England Patriots do that. I mean, Dallas, as much as they annoy the hell out of us, they do that. Pittsburgh Steelers do that. Any teams with, San Francisco, teams that have gumption on winning championships are out there not talking about winning divisions.
That's their standard.
That's their standard. Yeah.
Yeah. And you look at the Patriots, they haven't sniffed the playoffs since Tom Brady left, right? But they are still talking about winning a Super Bowl now. Not next year, not year after, but now.
So Jay, you said that you would trade Jared Goff. B, what moves would you make if the Lions don't make the Super Bowl this year? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think it would be disappointing. That's all I can say. I wouldn't think of making any moves.
So you kind of would just keep the same way.
I would probably keep everything the same way, but they do, like Jay, they do need to draft a quarterback behind Goff. I don't think Hooker is the answer. I like Hooker, but I don't think he's doing enough. He's not impressing the staff enough. And when you can't impress your own staff that drafted you enough to be a backup quarterback, I mean, you put in Teddy Bridgewater, who just came from off the street basically to come back to play. And he did a heck of a job leading the Lions.
Team.
Yeah, and went down the field and scored for the Lions when they needed him too.
He left Florida for their championship game and came here and signed a contract to play with us.
Not to mention, Kyle Allen was signed in the offseason, who hasn't even really played as a starter, and yet you put him in there to compete with Hooker. So I agree with you.
And the fact that they didn't put Hooker in that playoff game tells you a whole bunch right there.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And
yeah, me too, bro. Me too.
Same here, man.
And
way more before I die. If it's just one, I don't care.
The bucket list.
I think I got to retract some of my statements I made a couple of weeks ago about, the Lions, they wasted a draft pick on Hendon Hooker. You know something? I don't look at it as a wasted draft pick because I think they knew they needed a quarterback, a quality quarterback. And they wanted to see if Jared Goff was going to be worth the contract extension that he just recently had. So, I think that they rolled the dice on Hendon Hooker and it just didn't work out. Now you have to really go out and try to find somebody. I don't think Jared Goff is going to be here forever. And I mean, let's really, I want to keep it 100. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, but what if Jared Goff is seriously injured? Let's just be real.
Screwed.
I mean, we're only an injury away from having a catastrophic.
B will say the team is cursed. Literally.
So, I really, and God forbid, but I mean, I really just wanted to make that clear. And B, I really want to make it clear that, not B, but Nate, I really want to make it clear that it's not just Jared Goff. The reason why I'm putting it out there with Jared Goff is because he counts so much for the salary cap, one, and two, I think that he can only get us so far. I think that with our team, if Jared Goff can't do it now, we just need a different dynamic to the team. Just a different approach.
The good news is I'll piggyback on what you said about Jared Goff trading. I'm not a proponent of it because I do think Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks out there right now. However, if they did move off of Jared Goff, you're taking a step back. There's no doubt in your mind. However, your team is still fairly young. So by getting a quarterback on a rookie deal, you'll be able to afford more extensions for your young players, like a Gibbs, like a Laporta, like a J-Mo, like a Branch. You're going to be able to pay some of those other guys on a rookie contract. It's harder with a guy like Jared Goff's contract because you're paying a lot of money. That's why a lot of these NFL teams that have rookie quarterbacks are able to go out and spend money like it's Monopoly.
And somebody else, somebody that I would really like the Lions to go after if that was just something that they were considering, right, for shits and giggles. Gus Nussmeier from LSU. I mean, that's a quarterback right there that he has some wheels. He got an arm. If he has a good season this year, I mean, why not?
I could definitely see, looking at the construction of this roster so far, I think Brad did a really good job of addressing the guard position in this draft. So I could say pretty fairly that we're not going to probably go for a guard in the draft because you've got Mahogany, you've got Tate, you've got Miles, you've got other dudes that still on that roster that are guards that I think we're fine there. And then addressing
still on there, right? On the roster.
Addressing the D tackle spots. I think he did a good job of that. You could argue about defensive end. Yeah, we could probably get defensive end in the first round. I'm 100% with you on that. You definitely are going to see a situation where Brad is going to move up for a quarterback. I agree with B said because this draft has a lot of good quarterbacks coming into the NFL.
Is Archie Manning after this year? Is he?
Maybe.
I know he's going to go.
I think he will, but who knows?
I was going to say
he's a Manning.
He is.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
But think about it this. I could see the Lions drafting the future and letting him sit behind Jared Goff for another couple of years, just like Jordan Love did with Aroyd. So I definitely see that situation. That makes more sense to me because Hooker's not the answer. First off, Hooker's too old. Hooker is 4 years younger than Jared Goff.
I think he'll be 30 next year, right?
Can't teach old dogs new trick.
No, I really think
we're trying to say.
He might be. Yeah, well, you look it up. He might be Jay, but the thing is that he's not the answer. We all know that. He is not the answer. So the Lions will have enough draft capital to move up to at least the second round to get their quarterback. Because this team does not have a lot of needs.
He'd be 28.
There you go. See, so they don't have a lot of needs. So you're not having to retool a lot of the roster even after this year. It's just a matter of you're going to extend some guys or you're not. So
I think the next year is a year that they're going to have to develop a draft for quarterback, and a draft for linebacker because they need a linebacker. They need one that's going to stand. They need a standout linebacker. Period. Everybody else can be role players around this guy, but he's got to be the guy that's going to take the position. He's got to be our LT, not necessarily like the Pro Bowl LT, but a guy that's going to stand out. You know what I'm saying? You have a good defense. Your defense has got to be led by an all-pro linebacker. So let us get to that guy. Let us get a quarterback that can to what Nate said, develop under Goff, because Goff would probably be a good teacher. He knows he's not going to be in the NFL forever, and he knows he's old as hell. He's got family, so he knows his time in the NFL is coming to an end anyway. As a quarterback, just have somebody come up there and have him tutelage that person. So
yeah, you don't think Captain Jack will take that role?
No, Captain Jack's not that guy. He's a good linebacker, but
he's not going to be elite. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he's not elite. Yeah,
but
he's good, but he's not elite.
My only pushback on that is like if you look at the team that won the championship, Zach Bond had a great year, no doubt about that. But they literally got him from the Saints, and the guy was literally not that good, So I mean, you could take a player who's maybe had a bad outcoming in a team before that and put him in the right scheme, and then maybe he can turn into a star.
Sometimes all you need is a change of scenery.
Yeah.
I'm not. AA is probably our best linebacker.
AA's gone. The way I look at it, AA after this year, he's gone.
But the thing about it, I want a player like Kansas City had Nick Bolton is a really good linebacker, and he's a better. Nick Bolton,
but he's solid.
Yeah, but he's better than any linebacker we have on our team right now.
Nasty.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Somebody our linebacking core is probably the weakest position that we have on our whole team right now, because we got Rodriguez is in and out.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Barnes didn't play half the year.
But see, that's my thing is that, okay, I agree with you on Jack. I think Jack is a good, strong middle linebacker. Like, he's good at making the calls. He's got good enough speed. I like to see him make more plays instead of just tackling. Like, I want to see him get some interceptions, more forced fumbles. I think he could definitely increase his
sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
But then
you pay Derek Barnes a good amount of money. That's why Alex is pissed off right now, because Derek Barnes got more than he's getting.
He's off the ball linebacker. It's like, why are you paying?
Well, I mean, that's it. You're either a Mike or you're an off ball. I think Jack is really good at the mic. I'm okay with him at the mic position. He can make the calls. He can run the defense, but you need more of an elite kind of off ball linebacker that's got side to side speed, but could also be a playmaker too. Now, I will say this: I don't know if we've seen Derek Barnes hit that ceiling yet. The Lions clearly think that it's coming. So I'm gonna hold judgment till after the season and see where he plays, because he's gonna play a lot this year, especially if this whole Alex thing just blows up and goes to shit. Barnes is gonna be a huge factor with him and Jack. But the only thing I'll say about that is, if the Lions really felt that they needed an elite linebacker, and I don't even think the guy's elite, but Jahad Campbell was there. They could have easily got Jahad Campbell. Like, he fell for a reason. Because he's hurt. So, I mean, but they could have got Jahad Campbell and sat him behind these other linebackers. And then when he's fully healthy, then you slide him into those spots with Jack and
Unfortunately, you know why they picked Tyleik Williams, though? I don't think it was only because how skillful Williams is, but they know that our guy, what's his name, McNeil, he won't be back for a while.
Well, that's 100%. Yeah, he won't be back till November. Yeah,
and let's address the elephant in the room. He's had 2 lower body injuries, and how is that going to affect him moving forward? Like, he won't just hit the ground running and be that same elite guy that we expect him to be.
And they want to stop the run too, and you can stop the run inside.
Exactly. So I think that was kind of like that contingency plan. And on top of that, DJ Reader, I mean, while he was good and effective, was he the same guy we knew back in Cincinnati back a couple years ago?
Well, of course not, because he's older.
We didn't take him with being that guy.
So
you get a guy like that old. Yeah.
Also, Broderick Martin. You know,
he's not even in discussion. He's not even in discussion.
So with that being said, I think that was the reason why I think they probably had a high grade on Jihad Campbell. I really do think they had a high grade on him because the film and stats speak for themselves. The injuries, I don't think that. My bad. What were you going to say, Nate?
Well, let me ask you this question real quick because we're talking about Jihad. Do you think if they had dealt with the Alex situation, if they had known the Alex situation was going to come in to factor, do you think they would have taken a Campbell?
No. Still no. Because I believe that behind closed doors, things are going to get done. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, that whole Lions front office, they don't let things go unaddressed for a while. So while I do think that things are happening behind the scenes, they take care of their own. They like Alex Anzalone. Now, it may not be a number that he's just super enthusiastic about, but it'll be an offer he can't refuse. It'll be a number that he can't refuse.
They've already extended him. They've already extended him again. Like he's been extended twice.
So with that being said, I think that he wants just like big time money, but you got to go out there and produce for that type of money. And also factor in your age. How much more effective are you going to be being 31? 32?
But Alex, the only linebackers that are making really good money are Roquan Smith and Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Outside of that, everybody's making about what
Khalil
Alex
Mack.
is making.
Khalil Mack, man.
Khalil Mack. But he's also a pass rushing in too.
And Warner. There's a lot of linebackers making money.
Khalil Mack, man.
But he's not on any of those levels.
Alex isn't even on that level. Exactly.
Even close to that level. I think he's on Jermaine Pratt level. That's what he's on.
God. Wow. I think the Lions had a good grade on Jihad Campbell. I don't think the injuries, plays any part in it. I just think that, with the whole Alex Anzalone situation, I really think I'm going to be honest. Y'all may disagree. I think the Lions are okay with the people they have at linebacker.
Right now they are.
Yes. I think they're going to be – I think they're fine with that. And I think they're going to be fine with that for a couple of years. I really do.
Yeah, but Jay, fine is okay if you want to keep doing what you're doing and not advancing. Linebacker is a very important position. It doesn't make a difference if you have a dog at one of the linebacker spots. No matter Mike, outside linebacker, whatever. As long as you got some kind of a dog that's better than what we got at the linebacker spot, I'll take anything over that right now. And that person could be. He don't have to be wearing a captain sticker. He don't have to do that. He don't have to have the green sticker on the side of his helmet. He ain't got to do any of that. He's just got to be the guy that's going to make a play. He's got to help. Really, you got to think. You think about defensive end on the other side is something that we've been talking about a lot about who's going to be on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But linebackers are just as important as helping Hutchinson. If somebody can come in there and get sacks, that's what you need. And this question right here for Brett. How many sacks for Barnes this year of healthy? 6 or 7? The dude hasn't even reached above one sack.
That's my question.
He hasn't had one sack. His highest sack total, Brett, has been 1 in 3 seasons. So no, I don't see him seeing 6 or 7.
If he's just standing up, I would say about 3. If he's on,
that's a good year.
If he could put his hand in the ground, I think he should utilize him in some aspects, especially if he's playing the Sam position where he could rush the quarterback too and stand up. I could say 6 or 7. I could see that because he's got the athleticism to do that, and he's got the speed.
I don't know. That's hard.
He was you got to remember, he was a pass rusher at Purdue.
He was.
They turned him into a linebacker.
He was though, but I really don't think that they're going to put him in a pass rushing spot too much. I think that'll all be situational because we still We still got that Wingo. We still got a couple people that are still our edge rushers, and they just brought in another edge rusher. So I think they're going to utilize him as much as they can at linebacker. Only if they get paper thin at defensive end again, that's when I think they'll use him. But I don't.
Or if Chef wants to be creative and put more people in the ground and not know where you're coming from. Kind of like what the Eagles do sometimes. I could see him doing that because first off, he knows the linebackers. He used to be a linebacker himself. And Derek Barnes is one of those hybrid guys that when he got drafted, I know he was a defensive end. I was like, this guy, if he learns how to play linebacker, watch out for this dude because he's got skill to cover. He's got speed to rush. He's got power to push.
Who is
like?
I agree,
Derek
but
Barnes.
Derek Barnes can't cover a fly, man. Come on.
None
of them linebackers can cover nobody. None of them. That's what this is exactly the reason one time we need to get a linebacker in the draft that's that guy because that guy can cover people.
But that's even asking a lot because there's not a lot of linebackers that covered it well either.
I think they're
okay. Do you want an okay team going to the Super Bowl? Do you want an okay team?
Them. Like,
but I'm just saying, do you want an okay team though?
I'll tell you.
I don't want an
right
okay
now.
team.
I'll tell you right now. The best linebacker in this year's draft coming out, and I hate to say it because I hate Texas so much. It's Anthony Hill. If you haven't watched Anthony Hill's tape, he is a stud. But
he's the best linebacker?
Yes, he's the best linebacker. Watch video on this guy. He's going to go top 10. Literally, his best moves are rushing the passer.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like a Barnes. He's got that size, but he can rush the hell out of the passer, and they've used him a lot in pass rushing types of packages. Now, how good of a coverage guy is, I don't know. I tell you right now, it is very hard.
My bad. Go ahead.
Listen, like there's two linebackers that I have seen consistently through and throughout that could cover well, and that's Fred Warner. Fred Warner could cover any part of the field. We know that for a fact. And then there's probably Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith can cover well. And if you want to maybe throw an honorable mention, Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's always been a really good coverage linebacker. Or no, Lavonte David too. I'm sorry. Those four guys. But what I'm saying is like find a linebacker that could tackle high and cover. You're asking for a really big superstar player, and you're just not going to get that where the line.
But I also think even if a guy can't like rush the passer, you still want to be able to cover like tight ends. And think about the division we're in. You got Coastal and Loveland in our division now. You got T.J. Hawkinson you have to worry about, and you got the guy from what's that called? Green Bay. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of his name right now. But you're going to need people to cover tight ends.
I get it. But
all three divisional opponents love their tight ends, and they love to utilize those tight ends.
But you know what's also phasing out the linebacker in some aspects of the game is the big nickel. The third safety that can go down and play the box and cover, but also can play in the back too with the other safeties. You watch a lot more NFL tape. They're using those big nickels as the ones that cover the tight ends because of the ability to still have the size but don't lose on the speed.
If you have the players, they've been doing that for a long time, though, Nate. They've had nickels covering. It depends on how your nickel is, though. That's the difference.
True.
If you can't trust your nickel to cover a tight end, and you have to rely on your linebackers. That's the way it's always.
But now you're seeing more of these bigger safeties drafted. Look at Nick Anori, the guy from SC, is going to be a big nickel. Brian Branch, is another one of those examples. Javon Bullard from the Packers, another guy that was a bigger size that plays safety. Cooper DeJean is probably going to play that spot too. You're seeing these bigger guys that are still fast because they want to cover, but can also lay the lumber too and make the hit. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. I mean,
I would much rather see my linebackers being able to cover tight ends because I don't expect the nickel to, like, if you drop a nickel back in coverage, I don't expect them to try to rush up on the tight end or the running back if they're doing check downs and try to make a play instantly. That's what your linebacker is for. That guy who's supposed to cover. That's the reason why San Francisco's defense was so good because they had linebackers that literally was at the ball every single play. You couldn't run on them for a while. You weren't able to do anything on that defense because they had guys that made plays not only on the defensive line, but on their linebacking core as well, the second level as well.
Yeah, I think the linebackers are asked to do a lot more now. Not only are they asked to cover the tight end, they're asked to cover the running backs out of the flat. On top of that, they're asked to rush the quarterback on blitzes or rush the A gaps.
Hey, that's what you're getting paid for. That's your job, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And all that's dependent upon the plays, what down and distance it is. I mean, that's nothing new either.
But
they've
the
been doing this. The linebackers has been doing this for years too. That's nothing different. The thing about it is that linebackers need to. The day and age of passing is upon us, and it's there. So, in other words, you have to have coverage linebackers. You see what happens when you don't have your players out there. Like when we play Buffalo, they killed us with the running back.
So did Ty Johnson every time.
Ty Johnson was killing us, and they could not cover that guy. They could not cover that guy at all.
It was like it was like choose who you want to get killed by. Kincaid.
Yeah, but I mean, but who was out there? That would be my argument. Like, we don't know who.
I don't think it would have made a difference. It would have made a difference who the hell was out there because we don't have coverage linebackers. That's the point.
That's true. Because, I mean, if you remember, we had our guys. I mean, obviously, we know Carlton Davis had gotten injured that game, but Meek was there. Arnold was there. Branch was there. Kirby Joseph. All of our secondary were there.
I
the linebackers.
I don't have the stats in front of me to argue this, so I'd like to know what our linebackers coverage were and who was the best at it and who was the worst at it. So if one of y'all can come up with that, maybe we could talk about it the next show. I'd like to know straight hard facts about how bad the coverage was. I know there were times where, it looked like they didn't know what the hell they were doing out there. But to be fair, the linebacking crew took the hardest hit out of all the defense. I mean, you literally lost 3 guys for almost the whole year. Well, 2 guys actually.
And I kind of hope that Shep has that same type of mentality of bend don't break. You don't just have to be elite and have 30 sacks as a team. Come on, no, you just want to be able to stop the other team from scoring, keep them out of the red zone. They can have big plays, but just keep the other team out of the red zone, man. And in spite of having all those injuries, look at what the Lions did. They came through in big moments. I mean, one of the biggest moments, I know a lot of people are going to talk about Minnesota, the last game of the year, which is, I don't want to overshadow that because that was big time what they did. But look at what they did to Green Bay the second game. They really shut Green Bay down. I mean, obviously we know Josh Jacobs ran the ball pretty well, but they weren't able to pass the ball like that. They weren't.
And if you look at the Commanders game in the playoffs, even though I don't want to relive that situation, the reality is that what killed us in that game was Goff's turnovers and the secondary. Mm-hmm. We got torched. As soon as Meek got hurt, that was it. That was the last straw. Like, the defense just completely imploded after Meek went out because Meek just was playing balls out the game before.
They couldn't get stops on critical third downs. They couldn't get stops.
But it was the secondary that like Jaden Daniels was just hitting dimes after dimes after dimes down the field.
Or he just scrambled because they went for it a couple of times on fourth down.
I want to say it probably was AA, maybe. I don't know.
It probably was, but that's not saying much either.
It could be Jack. I don't know. Jack, people want to stop on Jack. Jack played well last year.
Y'all don't like Neiman?
He can't cover either.
I know. I'm playing. I'm being an asshole.
But
I mean,
every team, even the good teams have weaknesses.
What's up, Glenn?
Hey, that's my brother right there.
What's up, man?
Yeah.
And if y'all,
and him and I had that conversation as well. I know, Nate, you were big on Terry and Arnold, but it was something about Mikey Sainristil that I liked. He really got that grit to him, man. That was somebody I wanted the Lions to pick up, but hey, he's with the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought he was a safety. I didn't know he was a cornerback.
Not safety.
Oh,
yeah. He plays all kinds. He plays.
When you draft 2 cornerbacks,
basically.
Yeah, when you draft 2 cornerbacks in the first 2 rounds, it tells you all you need to know about where they're going.
And
they weren't going to wait.
I'm not. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna recant that whole secondary thing. Mm-hmm. The secondary can cover as long as they want to, but your defensive line didn't give no push. Their defensive line was not pushing.
The
secondary is going to get blown up if your defensive line's not getting to the quarterback.
Yes.
And, like I said, the whole defense in general was messed up. The offense didn't do what they were supposed to do, and your defense is the one you're supposed to fall back on when that happens. We didn't have a good defense. It just imploded. That's all there was to it. It just showed how important the offense was to the team.
Right, and the reality is the secondary lost Carlton and lost Meek Robinson. Defensive line lost Aiden Hutchinson and Aline McNeil. So you lost two huge cogs on both sides of those positions.
Mm-hmm.
And your backups. I mean, listen, they're backups for a reason. If they were good, they would have been starters. Like most people do not have good backups. They think they're good until they put them in a starting position. They're like, this guy's ass. You should go back to be a backup. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when your backups are hurt and your starters are hurt, so you're on your backups.
All right, Brett.
Yeah, you're really asking for a lot. But
yeah, man. Seriously. Yeah, seriously. No, I get it, man. I mean, let's just say this. I just really want to say this really quick to B's point about getting the linebacker really quick. I'm going to just kind of jump back on that. Yeah, man, I definitely like to see them get a linebacker. But the only thing I'll say is that do you think that will be something that's just pivotal, that they need it? Like, that's just, you need that. Or would you say that could possibly be another edge rusher?
I mean, I think a lot is made of edge rushers. There's plenty of teams that have one edge rusher that's really good, and the other side is comparable. I've been looking at that too. So we're making a lot of big stink about that whole other side. As long as we got
a lot of people don't have two premier pass rushers,
Brent.
Man. It's very hard to.
No, they don't. And if they do have two premier pass rushers, it's come from them developing another guy on top of having that superstar.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the linebackers come in. That's where I want. You should have a good player on every level of your defense. You should have a good defensive lineman, no matter if it's a nose guard, a end. You should have a good linebacker, no matter if it's a Mike linebacker, outside linebacker. You should have a great safety or a good corner, a great corner on your. And the Lions really, as much as hype as you're making about the secondary being torched, they're the ones that kept us in a lot of games because of the fact that we were third in the league in turnovers, and a lot of those were interceptions.
Yeah,
I mean, Kirby and Branch were playing their behinds off them.
Our safeties were just they were balling out.
We didn't have a lot from our corners, but our corners played good enough to stop teams when we
Carlton Davis, he played a great man. Carlton Davis, he was really good, man. Really good. He was good, man. And I know y'all gonna be like, "What DJ Reed?" But man, Carlton.
Hey, did you see where PFF has DJ Reed ranked out of cornerbacks?
Yeah, I was surprised. Number 6. Like, wow.
I'm not. The damn guy can cover. He can cover.
Now I gotta ask you guys, how much do y'all think that he benefited from playing alongside Sauce?
He didn't benefit. You don't benefit. Sauce. No. Nobody's throwing Sauce's way. So who are they gonna throw to? They're going to throw the DJ Reed's way. And he still was hella good.
The answer is huge because they saw that the guy held his own against the best receivers because Sauce was pretty much locking down that other side. So when you hold your own and you're not the best cornerback on the field, you're going to get paid somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I can see that. I agree with that. Yeah. I agree. I said, I think he and Carlton Davis are still like here or there. I will give the edge to DJ Reed because obviously I've watched him play some, and Carlton Davis, really one thing that really just changed my mind about him, kind of went sour, was he was in it for the money. He wasn't in it to win. He was in it for the money. That's the reason why he went to New England, because they paid him more. It wasn't because he thought he
came in wanting to get paid. He made that very clear before.
And we made it very clear you're a one year rental too. That's what we made clear.
Right, because
you're a 1 year rental,
bro. They're going to pay you all that money and give you a big extension, and they got Christian Gonzalez. You out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
And second of all, I think that this is the best secondary we've had in this regime. This is the best secondary by far, hands down. So. At least on paper, it's the best secondary we've ever had. So, I mean, and you got to look at, I think Meek Robinson was one of the best corners, not best defensive back, best corner that played last year. Meek Robinson took on Justin Jefferson and shut him down in that last game. Justin Jefferson, who is one A and 1B with Jamar Chase as the best receivers in the league. Come on. So if Ami can take that kind of task to hand, and he's a great nickel too. Like I said, he's an older Brian Branch to me. That's what I always said when you watch him.
He's a pit bull, man.
He can get out there. Yeah.
He's a pit bull. That dude, he can hit. He's very physical at the line of scrimmage.
I love the fact that we got him, Nick Robbins. I loved him when he played for Oakland.
Pit bull.
I'm gonna say this. Going back to your point, B, about the linebackers, I was thinking about this when you guys were talking. Like, we could argue, or I don't know if it's going to be an argue. I think we could all agree that Aiden's a star on the defensive line, right?
Yeah.
He's a star. Okay.
100%.
And Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are stars on the secondary,
back end,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Kirby, not Branch, even though I think Branch.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Kirby,
sure. Kirby's a star in the secondary.
Yeah.
He's your secondary star.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that when it comes to linebackers, that's where you pause. And that's where you're kind of like, well, if Jack can ball out, he could be that star. Or if Barnes takes another step forward, he could possibly be that star. It's just the doubt and the ifs and all that. So that's where B's making his point about, we don't have that, so-and-so is a star on that linebacking spot. We have a lot of good guys, but we don't have a star. And I agree with you on that, B. Because the defensive line has a star and the secondary has a star.
And to your point, he doesn't necessarily have to be an elite linebacker. He needs to be somewhere better than all the linebackers that we have now.
Right.
Like, he needs to be a Nick Bolton. He needs to be somebody out there. Who's another good linebacker that's good? Devontae David is a good linebacker. Somebody that extrapolates the rest of the line. So, you got to have somebody help out now, and you can't just rely on your defensive line people to help him out. You got to rely on those linebackers too. If somebody's looking, if your offense out there playing against the Lions defense, you ain't worried about none of the linebackers. You're not. You're worried about Aiden Hutchinson.
They do check downs.
You're worried about Aleem McNeil. You're worried about DJ Reader. You're worried about those guys when they're all playing together. You're worried about that defensive line. You're not worried about them linebackers because the linebackers ain't going to they're not striking fear into nobody.
I do have a question for you guys though. If you got a linebacker, let's just say that's good and functional in that way that we're asking him to be, do you think that will perfect the defense though? And I kind of think we're asking for them to be perfect though. And I don't really think that any team is going to be perfect.
We don't need an elite linebacker. We don't need a LT out there. We don't need that kind of a linebacker. We need a linebacker that's better than the linebackers that we have. He's functional and he's a threat. And that means people will be like, now we have to really worry about this linebacker because he could blitz from anywhere, or we are worried about him covering any tight ends coming out the back or halfbacks coming out the backfield. Yeah, you gotta have somebody you worry about on that level of the defense. Just like ain't nobody's gonna throw deep on the Lions because Kirby's gonna be out there playing center field.
Right.
So you're not gonna throw like that on us. And you're definitely not going to be holding the ball long because Aiden Hutchinson, Lee McNeil, or DJ Reader will get to you sometime or another. So you got that fear, but you got no fear in a linebacking core. And Buffalo, regardless of who we had in playing at linebacker, Buffalo already had that game plan. That was the best game plan they ever had.
They showed me.
I mean,
the reason why they put up 50-something.
Joe Brady going into that game, I guarantee you, he thought this in his head.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions have linebackers off the streets.
Yeah.
I'm going to run Ty Johnson on his ass the whole game and rinse and repeat. And that's exactly what he did.
But Glenn, Malcolm Rodriguez is he is a role player.
He's solid.
I'm sorry. He's a role player. He's not a starter. He's not going to – he can start for you in a pinch. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
But he's not somebody you're going to say, oh, yeah, well, we're going to have Malcolm Rodriguez on day one starters. No, ain't going to happen.
Like you probably use him in a situational, maybe like a third down, right? Like you're not going to have him out there. He's not going to take 30 snaps a game. No, he's not going to do that. He's a role player. And
this is a question. This is a question I want to ask you about linebackers. All right. They made a very good move during this offseason in picking up Zach Cunningham. Now, Zach Cunningham's a little long in the tooth, but that dude's a tackling machine. Now,
and he's a vet.
Do you think he could take somebody's spot off the starting linebacker, Core? Why not? Why not?
Yeah. I mean,
because I don't think
he could take Barnes' spot. He could probably take
extend Barnes.
Jack's not going anywhere.
Jack's solid.
Yeah,
he's solid.
He's not going anywhere.
Anzalone probably he could take, or Derek Barnes.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't think you'll extend Derek Barnes to reduce his role at linebacker. I just don't see it that way. And I think Alex Anzalone, by him being who he is and having the role and being a captain, I don't think that they were going to.
Also, too,
I don't see that either.
Also, too, I'll throw another one out there that nobody's talking about. Grant Stewart from the Colts. Like, this guy can play a little bit. Like, he's one of those guys, like a Zach Bond. Hold up. He's like a Zach Bond type. Remember, Zach Bond played special teams for the Saints until he got a bigger role with Philadelphia. Like, and they like this guy a lot. And I've seen some tape on him. He's got some skill. I'm not saying he's all world or anything like that, but he can definitely
out. Just a camp body?
No, hell no. No, he's going to be on the 53-man roster. I promise you. He could outseat a Rodrigo. He could outseat somebody like a Ben Neiman, because he's got a lot of skill that has been untapped, and I'm telling you, they probably saw what happened with Zach Bond. They're like, hey, not saying he's going to be Zach Bond, but hey, we got to take a look at this guy because he hasn't done crap with the Colts, but maybe in a better scheme, maybe with a more defensive-minded linebacker-ish type of coach. Let's see what he can do with them.
We'll have to see. And with the depth coming back and a lot of people coming back from injury, I think that he'll compete. And if he can compete, then we can have those conversations. If he can just make the team and he can actually, make. I
got to see what's going to happen with Alex, man. I mean, right now Alex is not on the team, so he's not, or he's on the team, but he's not with the team. So
get there first.
Hopefully by training camp he signs his whatever. Maybe they do give him some more money. I don't know.
I do have to ask you guys another question though. So we have Terry Arnold in this rake straw, Amik Robertson, DJ Reed.
I forgot about Nowoski. There's another guy.
Yeah, he was okay. DJ Reed, Kirby Joseph, and Brian Branch. Those are like our 6 defensive backs that we know that are going to get playing time. Mm-hmm. Where does Maddox fit in?
They're going to use him
be
as
a backup
safety,
nickel
probably.
Or a safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see that. Now, what do you guys think about that signing? Because that was a little bit puzzling.
I love it, man. Depth. If Meek goes down, you got a guy like Maddox who slide in that spot.
And to tell you, and make it more amazing about the signing, because players have pride, and for Avonte Maddox to really lose his spot over the course of 3 seasons as a number 1 corner is a telltale sign right there. He knows he's not good enough to be a starter, and he took on a contract with the Lions knowing that he was not going to be a starter. He's going to be a backup to all the people that are starting in their positions. So, and he accepted that. And that's what's good about that kind of a football player. If you can accept that fact that at this time in your career that you're going to be nothing better than when you are able to come in as a person, you're going to fill in that number 1 spot well. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're going to sit there and play your role. And I think that's what's good about the Avonte. It's same for Rocky Sin. People ain't talking about him. Rocky Sin's been a steady corner over his career. He ain't been the best corner. He ain't been a worst corner. He's just been that steady guy.
Yeah, I think. Listen, like the thing with Lions fans that kind of cracked me up is like, what was the biggest complaint about the Lions during the season? Oh, we don't have enough depth. And that's all that that too. But that's all I heard. We don't have enough depth. There's not enough depth. Our depth sucks. It's not good, whatever. And all Brad Holmes did this offseason was draft freaking depth. Good, solid depth to add to starters, add behind the starters. So, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we still got. I mean, the secondary is probably of the defense. Secondary is the strongest. They have the most depth.
Agreed.
I mean, if one of those, if, God forbid, if any of our starters go down, I don't lack the confidence that any of those depth guys that we got they'll go in there and start. They'll go in there and do a good job.
That's
it's
why
not
Rakestraw
like the years
really got to come
before.
out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we still got
That's
Rakestraw out there. We got Strickland.
I mean, this is why yeah, but this is why Rakestraw needs to freaking get going and learn quick, because Rocket Sin, Maddox, all those dudes can take your spot like that. Like the Lions are not gonna wait for you to develop. They need you now.
I think he has a little time to develop. Yeah. I think this is his year. Reason being is because we still got Emmanuel Mosley.
He's not even on the roster.
That guy has been on our team for what?
He's a free agent.
Years, and he's ACL injuries.
Yeah, Emmanuel Mosley's not on the roster.
Yeah, he's a free
not
agent.
Anymore. Okay, good. Because he was on our team for a while and he had 2 injuries, and it was like, okay, nothing against you, fam, but what's going on here?
It happens, man. But they even have Khalil Dorsey. Nobody's talking about Khalil Dorsey. He's still on the roster. They re-signed him in the offseason.
He's special.
He's a role player. He's a special teams role player. That's what he is.
Again, all I'm trying to say is that Brad has heard what we said and drafted depth. Now let's see what this depth looks like before we all tear it apart, because we don't know.
I agree. 100%. I agree 100%. Now,
actually, yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent. Mosley is, but I don't think they're going to resign him
unless we have a rash of injuries. No way in hell we resign him.
He's not and he's not on here as active. He's on here as a UFA. Yeah. So,
okay, well, good.
Okay,
I don't think they should sign him anyway. He shouldn't be here anyway.
I want to put that out.
There's no spots. There's no spots. Yeah, I agree. Strickland's not even on the roster right now because they got that guy from Georgia who they like a lot.
No, he's saying Strickland won't last on our practice squad because he's legit.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. He is legit. He's a good player. He's a really good player.
It'll be interesting to see who wins between him and Dan Jackson, because I like Dan Jackson's game.
I have no faith in Dan Jackson. Dan Jackson is a hype guy.
Strickland. 100% Strickland. Because if you remember, Strickland actually played last season. He actually got a couple reps. So I think that, they see some.
He played in active roster.
All I know is that if we see Dan Jackson or Strickland playing in the game, we better pray, because
our safety is not as good as our,
because the reality
our corners.
But as far as I want to see the safeties go is Maddox, just like we saw with Iffy winning the game. If Iffy was in the game, I was fine with it. After Iffy, God help us, because that's all I'm saying. But all right, y'all, we're gonna wrap it up soon. We're gonna go ahead and do the You Mad Bro, because it is storming out here, and I don't want to get struck by lightning. It can happen. You never know.
But it's raining in Texas. What?
Yeah, it's been crazy weather, man. Go figure. 100 degrees today, and then it's thundering right now. I'll tell you, bipolar weather.
All right.
So we're gonna do the You Mad Bro, and then we're gonna wrap it up and send it off.
All right.
Got the fire ready to go, man. I wish you could get like the fire behind me. Maybe I'll get struck by lightning and the fire will start burning everything.
I don't want to wish that upon you, bro.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Nate.
I wasn't trying to say that again. Kinley?
Kinley.
I don't know who that is. Who's that? Are you talking about, Brent?
Talking about Kennedy.
Oh,
Kennedy.
No. Not right? Kennedy, not the receiver, no.
Not TK. No.
No.
Hopefully.
It was another.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get started, because it's starting to really storm bad here. All right. So
I can hear it.
Yeah. And I have my noise cancellation on too. So I don't know about y'all, but when I look at an expert, I value what they say because they study the game a lot. They're very, they're really into what they're learning, because they get paid a lot of money to study all that stuff and then get on TV and all that good stuff, right? And so I expect that if you're an expert, you're entwined to the game almost all the time. Really, the only time I expect you to not be entwined to the game is whether you're sleeping with your woman, whatever, like you're not at the game. You know, when you're at the game, you should be focused. So I bring this up because I think y'all know where I'm about to go with this. So Mr. Stephen A. Smith was at the finals, and guy makes 30 to 40 million to call to be the analyst for the basketball games. And they caught him playing solitaire during the finals. And I'm sorry, that really pissed me off because, listen, you are the face of ESPN. ESPN's already getting a lot of crap about the NBA coverage as is. So you would think that you got to really be careful what you're doing and how you're doing it. And to be caught live on TV, somebody took a picture of it, of him playing solitaire during the NBA Finals. That was pretty bad for me because I'm not a huge Stephen A. Smith fan, but I like him, you know, and I do value his opinions because he has been an NBA reporter for a long time. So he's been in the locker rooms. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to the NBA. But to see a guy literally playing solitaire during the best time of the year for a basketball savant was insulting and should be ashamed of himself. And honestly, I really hope that he would apologize on First Take on Monday saying that, hey, I should not have been doing that. I'm embarrassed by doing that, and I won't do that again. It'll be interesting to see because if he's a man of who he is, and one thing about him, he's very quick to judge other people and call out other people on other things, what they wear, what they say, yada, yada, whatever. He should be a man and say, you know what? I fucked up. I should not have been on my phone playing solitaire. I'm at the NBA Finals. Anybody would love to be at these finals right now, and the games are actually good, you know? So to even be playing solitaire at this time is just sad to see. And I was just very upset and pissed off about that because I would love to be in that seat watching the finals and calling, and then after that, getting to talk about it. Like, I think anybody would be jazzed about that stuff. Bro, if you don't want to watch the freaking finals, then don't put you on the finals. Take your ass off and go do something else. Go. I know he wants to run for president or whatever. Go do that, bro. Stay the hell away from the finals.
This is what you're mad at, Nate. This is what you're mad at, Nate.
You know,
really, you're mad at this, Nate.
I know why he's mad at it too.
No, but I'm just saying it just struck me the wrong way.
First of all, it was a pitcher. You don't know what was going on during this pitcher. Could have been a break. Could have been a timeout.
If you see the picture, they're playing on the floor, B. They're playing on the floor.
It's a video.
It's during the live game. They're playing on the floor.
Yeah, it was a live game going on.
Yeah, he wasn't taking a shit watching playing solitaire. No, he was literally the game was going on.
You know what makes it that much worse,
I don't understand what the problem is. You know how often people go there and with their cameras and they watch games. I mean, with their phones and they watch games and they go there. It don't make a difference. That's the whole reason right there. He's Stephen A. Smith. He can do what the fuck he want to do.
But B, he is the face of ESPN.
Yeah, and if I agree with Nate though is because Stephen A. Smith has a habit of not giving certain players the credit that they deserve. Right, like he don't give Tyrese Halliburton the credit he deserves. He's a Knicks fan for one of their biggest rivals, right? Who just eliminated his team, right? So. While you're not sitting here watching the good things that Halliburton is doing on the floor, you sitting there playing on your phone, and then you're going to hop on First Take on Monday and say how bad of a player Tyrese Halliburton is. Meanwhile, he just dropped another buzzer beater. It's like okay. Let me put it in other terms. It's like if Tom Brady was at the Super Bowl, calling the game, and he's on his phone playing solitaire. How would that look? Bad.
Really bad. And the fact is, B, the reason why I'm building it up more than it is that if y'all have listened to talk radio or listened to what's going on with ESPN's coverage of the NBA Finals, it is bad. Really bad. Like, one of the reasons why the ratings are so low is because ESPN's doing a piss poor job of introducing the finals. Like, they literally don't even have the championship stuff on the court. So if you watch the game and you don't know it's the finals, you think it's a regular game. Where do you think it's the finals? Like, it's just bad coverage, and I think that's another reason why they're bringing the guys from NBA, inside the NBA, to come on to ESPN because they need something to help them. The basketball coverage is horrible. Baseball's already leaving ESPN. They're like, dude, we don't want to do ESPN baseball with you anymore. We're done. Our contract's over. We're going somewhere else. Like, so ESPN threw a Hail Mary out to inside the NBA and said, hey, would y'all come over to this cast and help us out? And we'll see. But it's just not good right now. And like I said, I expect more from Stephen A. Smith. Like, dude, if it's a regular game, I don't care. It's whatever. You could be crappiest teams. I could care less. But you're in the finals, bro. Like, you're one of the top analysts that gets on TV and smiles all day, like Jay says, and talks mess about whatever, like everything. Now this is gonna hurt him bad because I'm telling you, KD already called him out on it. He retweeted the picture and said, "Hey, really, bro?" Like, I guarantee you, anybody that comes at that Stephen A. comes back at him at, they're gonna come back at him on that. So I don't know. It was bad optics. It was a bad look. It was not good. It pissed me off because I would have loved to have been in that seat watching the finals. And I love basketball. And when you do that, that question makes you question your heart if you really want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, that's fine, bro. Don't be on the coverage. Like, if I'm ESPN, I would suspend him for the rest of the series. But they don't have the balls to do that. I'm serious. They don't have the balls to do that because if they lose him, nobody's gonna watch the finals.
I wouldn't go that far. I just say they need to tell him to straighten up, tighten up, and pay more attention to the game. That's pretty sad when you have to tell somebody to pay attention during the finals when you're an NBA analyst. So, that's it. That's all I'm saying.
But you know what?
That was mine.
I've been looking at articles while you've been going on your tirade here. ESPN don't give a damn about Stephen A. Smith looking at the finals. They got here, they pay him $100 million not to watch the damn finals. The dude is just he look, first of all, he don't care about sports. He don't. He's a loudmouth guy, and I like Stephen A. And I don't like Stephen A. That's what kind of people. There's a lot of people out there that have both sides of that. Both people, I like him and I don't like him. So you like him because of some of the stuff he says. You don't like him because he acts like an ass sometimes. But the point of the matter is, he's on there to be. He ain't on there to be a flagship piece guy on that show. He's not. He's on there to be the mouth. He's the mouth of ESPN. That's all he is.
You're right. He is the mouth.
Got nothing,
You're absolutely
but it ain't got nothing to do with sports. It ain't got nothing to do with sports. It's because he's a mouth. He makes you pissed off. Exactly what you're doing right now is exactly what ESPN wants you to do. Get pissed off. And that's exactly the reason why he gets paid that money, because he doesn't care about sports like that. Okay,
but
he's
if he
the guy.
Care about sports, why is he on the number one?
He's a horse and pony show that you see on ESPN. He's a horse and pony show. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a horse. It's just like, you ever listen to his commentary on Detroit Lions?
All the time.
He puts them at the top 5, and he's gushing, and he's like, "Oh yeah." As soon as they lose some, "Oh, these are the same old Lions." Dude, you switch on and off like a light.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what Stephen A. Smith is to ESPN. He is the horse and pony show that they want, that they pay that money to, and people watched it because he is that.
Never give them the ratings.
That doesn't make a difference if he's playing solitaire. Nobody gives a damn about that.
But let me push back.
You might give a damn about it, but it's not helping. It's not hurting him.
It went viral very quickly, and a lot of people are talking about it.
That's because everybody thinks the same thing you do, but it's not that way.
Well,
he's a horse and pony show for ESPN. He doesn't play damn sports.
But he also, and he always says this all the time on the show. He also says this on the show all the time. He's been an NBA reporter for almost 20, 30 years. I've been in the locker room. I know what's going on. I've been with the players. I've been with the coaches. I know the NBA. He always says he doesn't know shit about the NFL. He always says that. He said, I don't know crap about the NFL. That's why I bring players on that played the game to get their analysis on it. He focuses, his thing is the NBA. That is his baby all the time. If you watch First Take, he always says that anytime somebody comes at him, he's like, I've been a reporter for 20, 30 years. I've covered the NBA. I know everything about the NBA. I've been in locker rooms. I've been the players. I've done all this, yada, yada stuff. Okay, fine, bro. We get it. But it just does not look good when it's the face of ESPN.
I agree.
You're the top NBA analyst.
Well, I don't know if he's. I mean, that's what you label him as. But what he is, he's not a top NBA fan. I can. Man, hell no.
But
he's a horse and pony show. He brings ratings to that He brings ratings to ESPN. On top of it, which is very amazing that you're even mad at him because he's a Knicks fan. And he is. When the Knicks were playing, that dude was like hanging off the Knicks balls like it wasn't nothing.
It doesn't matter. I'm an NBA fan. I keep telling y'all. Knicks are my
you're a
team.
Knicks fan, dude. You're straight up Knicks fan.
But I watch the
dude,
NBA.
You're a Knicks fan.
I watch the NBA as a whole because this has nothing to do with the Knicks. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying he clowns like that for. He's just a clown like that. Yeah. That's what they pay him to be, as a horse and pony show. And yeah, Brett, I understand you. He's not. He has to be professional to a point. He's a professional to the fact that he can play the horse and pony show anytime he wants to. I guarantee you, ESPN hasn't questioned him about this whole situation.
Nah, yeah.
He ain't gonna get fired. He's not gonna get fined.
I'm not saying he's
gonna come to work the next day. He responded to the whole thing on social media. So that tells you right there he's not gonna go and apologize.
I didn't know he said that. What he said?
He's not gonna. He's not gonna apologize on social media. So what the hell he's gonna go on ESPN and apologize? Because they don't care. He just said he can multitask. That's what he was saying.
Hurt their ratings. They don't care. Because there's been numerous players calling him out about multiple.
First of all, there's no ratings anyway for this NBA finals. So
not anymore.
It wasn't before that.
Like, let's say this was Shannon Sharp or whoever else on ESPN. Would you care as much?
Yeah, Brett he is a horse and pony show. Yeah. He can do with all his. If you want to sit there and listen to what Stephen A. Smith says about who has never been an athlete,
right?
In any professional
he played
sports.
Basketball for a little bit, yes, but he didn't
I'm talking about professional sports.
Yeah, no.
You really ain't. I mean, that's like us talk. I mean, well, I haven't played professional, but I played it in high school.
Sure.
I know. At least Jay has played in high school, haven't you, Jay? You played in high school, so I mean, and you were a coach in basketball, and I was a coach in basketball. But again, it wasn't the NFL or college. What we're seeing, we're just analyzing stuff. That's a difference. He's just a horse and pony show. That's just all he is.
Right, but the problem is that this horse and pony show has a lot of pull for ESPN because of his show, because of what he brings. Like, there's a reason why he gets these massive contracts for ESPN, because ESPN doesn't want to lose him. And the fact is, me being an NBA purist that's watched the game, loves the game, studies the game, all that stuff, I don't want to see the best fucking analyst on ESPN playing fucking solitaire during a damn game.
Is he really the best ESPN?
ESPN, yes, he is.
He is to fans. You're a purist to basketball, but there's fans of basketball. That's the difference right there. You're talking in a purist form. Of course, you don't want to see that in a purist form, but Stephen A. Smith is not a purist. Okay, first of all. And he
portrays as one, because if you wrote articles for the NBA for 20, 30 years, you have to be some kind of a purist, because that is a profession that he created before he became famous on ESPN, before he started doing his own podcast and all that stuff. His starting was being on studying the NBA or writing about the NBA for 20, 30 years.
To get you in the door. And then he marketed himself.
Sure, yeah.
And he became a horse and pony show for ESPN. And
that's
ESPN gets ratings with Stephen A. Smith.
Whether you like it or not, it gets you talking about it. It gets you engaged.
He's not that purist. He's not that purist like you, Nate. Okay, that's the whole thing. He appeases to fans. He doesn't appease to you because he's
if that's the case, then you don't need to be on TV. He doesn't need to be on the NBA Finals coverage.
ESPN would have to disagree with you on that one.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
ESPN gets a lot of good ratings from Stephen A. Smith.
Well, I'll tell you this
just
right
like
now.
They did from Shannon.
He did. And Shannon's not there anymore.
I know. But they did.
There's a reason.
From Shannon.
There's a reason. If Stephen A. Smith was the savior of ESPN, there's a reason why they brought the guys from inside the NBA over. That's going to be interesting. Because if you watch,
first of all, I can guarantee you half of them aren't going to show up.
What do you mean?
I'm going to tell you, probably Barkley won't show up. You ain't going to have.
They're all forthcoming. They already said. The contract was agreed. All 4 of them are coming back to the show. Yeah, they're not moving. They're all coming. They're all coming. All 4.
I guarantee you. At least one of them guys ain't coming back. Like, fuck a contract. Contracts can be renegotiated. It doesn't make a difference. One of them ain't coming back. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Why wouldn't they come back? That's the hottest NBA show out there, and it's just going to ESPN.
It's not going to be the same with ESPN. Everybody knows that. It's not going to be the same show with ESPN running it. They can't get away with half the antics.
Do whatever they want to do. Well,
okay.
If you watch
that's what they said. That's what they said
on there.
That's what they said. That's what they said with Pat McAfee too.
Jeez.
That guy totes.
McAfee show fell off big time. I know people still watch it, but it doesn't.
But all I'm saying,
once it got to ESPN, it just once you manufacture those shows on a network like ESPN, everything falls flat.
Well, the only thing that Pat McAfee can't say is "fuck" on his show. You can't say that on ESPN.
One of his favorite words.
Damn, you can say shit. Yeah, exactly. Use that word like profusely, but you can still say damn, shit, all that, because they say it on First Take all the time. Like, it's crazy how much they curse on that show, you know. But all I'm saying is the fact is that they're bringing the guys from inside the NBA. It's going to be interesting to see them clash and Stephen A clash, because, you know, you got 2 really strong, opinionated people. I don't know if you can put them all on the same show.
Well, there's three of the 4 athletes. They played in the NBA. That's the difference. Right. Stephen A. Smith is a talking piece. I keep trying to tell you that. You're getting bent out of shape about stuff that ESPN is playing him to be that horse and pony guy.
Bro, you're getting it the wrong way. I'm not bent out of shape. I'm pissed off because as a fan and a purist of the game, I don't want to see one of the best people on the network fucking playing solitaire during a goddamn finals game.
But
like, that's the truth.
Are you really? Okay. Stephen A. Smith, to me, is not something I'm going to go for a source of information for the basketball, football, any sports, because he is the guy that will give you mostly opinions. Right? He's not really going to give you a bunch of facts. He's that horse and pony guy. You know what? I trust Greeny for sports stuff more than I trust.
He's never played either.
And he ain't played either. The point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
You're mad because you're a purist and you don't want to see one of your icons out there doing that.
It's not a good fucking look.
ESPN doesn't have any problem with it. It doesn't make a difference what any of us think about him.
Well,
so
ESPN doesn't come out
you can be mad all you want. You can be mad.
You
You can be legitimately mad all you want, but it's not going to stop Stephen A. Smith from making his money. Yeah, there you go. Are you disappointed, bro?
Yeah, it's just disappointing to see because, like, it's actually been a good finals. Like I can see if, like, it's
for
a 3-4
purists, like we were talking about. Me and you would like to see that game. Jay probably too, but me and you would like to see, because we're purists of the game. We want to see good games. I don't care about what market it is. I don't. But for people that are outside of that market, Stephen A. Smith is there to make the game better, as far as, because there's no New York team in there like you were talking about earlier, no LA team in there, no Boston team in there. It doesn't, those are, your big marketplaces. Even if
there's no doubt he brings the personality.
Yeah, he brings the personality to the show, and that's what gets the ratings. And people say, well, I'm going to watch ESPN. I'm going to watch the finals because Stephen A. Smith is there. There are people that watch that game because Stephen A. Smith
and then they see Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire, like, well, maybe I don't need to watch the finals because he don't care. Why should I care?
People will still be like, oh my gosh, it's just Stephen A. Smith. They're still watching.
I'm with you on that, Brent. I wouldn't go from no toilet paper either.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're popular like that, you carry a lot of weight. It's no different than if you see somebody of high caliber doing something they shouldn't be doing, and you're kind of like, what the hell happened there? Like, what's going on?
It's just like
the Pope playing a video game, giving a sermon.
It's like watching the NFL and the NFL show, right? Rich Eisen and Steve Mariucci and whoever depends to be the ex-football players that are commentating then. Rich Eisen has never played football.
Yeah.
All right.
But he's one of the. But he also is a really good talk show guy.
Well, yeah, he's a mouthpiece. Now he's not as extravagant as Stephen A. Smith is. No. But he does have that focus on him as an NFL rep person because the run for Eisen, that 40-yard run for Eisen thing he does all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so he does things like that to put focus on himself. But then again, he doesn't like focus on himself. He said that many times. Stephen A. Smith, that dude's out there looking for attention all the time. Well, I mean, you got people talking about people. It's as much as Shannon Sharp has attention on him all the time. He doesn't like that attention either, even though he's got his own show now. But he does that because he can do and say what the hell he wants to do. He wants to be that Pat McAfee outside ESPN, Fox, wherever the hell he's going to be the host at. And so he doesn't want that, but it comes to him anyway. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that has to do with just being black in media entertainment anyway. That's what that is too. I don't want to make it racist, but that's basically what it is.
Say that again.
Being black in the media entertainment business. You know what? You got the white guys that don't get a lot of hype, but you got the black guys that get a lot of hype because they do Stephen A. Smith thing. Yeah, personality.
Yeah. And then there's no argument there. Like Stephen A. Smith is a very loud personality. We all can agree on that. But the thing is that when he stakes his stuff on his knowledge of the NBA, and you see a guy literally not even focusing on what's going on in front of him, and we don't know how long he was playing solitaire. Hell, he could have been playing solitaire for the rest of the game. We could not know, So the thing is, it just does not look good, And I hope if he's a man of himself, he literally apologized on first take. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Maybe he's going to apologize on first take and just take a 5-minute, because he does that sometimes. When the whole LeBron situation happened, he paused the show and literally talked about the whole LeBron situation. So, and I guarantee he's been getting a lot of shit about this once this video went viral. So I hope he at least just apologized that, you know what, I messed up. I should not have done that. I should have been watching the game. I'm embarrassed, whatever.
That's what you want him to do, but I guarantee you he's not going to apologize for that. Right, he might mention it, but he ain't going to apologize for that. It's the same thing with LeBron.
First take tomorrow. We'll see.
Like he did with LeBron, he didn't really apologize, but he told him he
didn't apologize, but he addressed it, is what I'm trying to say. He addressed it.
Addressing is not the same as apologizing, Nate. Addressing is addressing. That's all that is. If apologize and say, I apologize for playing this on there, that's an apology.
Yeah.
But just sitting there saying, well, I'm going to address what I got a video taken of me playing solitaire. Yeah, who gives a fuck? Basically, that's what he does.
I'm pretty sure ESPN.
He's still getting paid.
Pretty sure ESPN's going to tell him to say something, but we'll see.
I doubt that.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been a great show. As always, shout out to everybody who's been on the show. Brent, who else?
Brent Monkey was on here. Steve-O. We lost Steve-O. I want Steve-O. And Glenn, Jay's bro. Who else we had on here today? Sonia. She stopped by for a minute.
Thank you,
James.
Sonia.
J Train stopped by. So yeah, we had a quite.
Yeah, not bad for a Father's Day show. Yeah,
no, exactly. Really.
Yeah. Robbie's probably still up with his dad. Real quick, just quick housekeeping items. We will not have a show for the next couple of weeks. I will be out of town.
Yeah, next week, but the following week we'll have one. The 29th.
4th of July. Oh, 29th. Okay.
Of June.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have another show in 2 weeks. So yeah. And we would like, if you can, we're gonna put out a promotion on this. But if you have questions for us, or you want something for us to discuss, please send us a DM, send us a Facebook message. We can even put our email out there if you have a question, or you can hop on the show or hop on the chat here and ask us a question during the show. But we would like more interaction and more feedback from y'all on what you want us to discuss. Because like I said, right now we're in the dog days of summer. So we're trying to figure out content, what's going on. We're trying to just have discussions. I think we did a really good job this time around of just kind of one question opened up many questions, which I kind of said it was going to happen. And that's what I love about debate.
And then on top of that, I mean, we know this is a Lion show, But if you keep your questions football or NFL related,
Yeah, we'll
that would be fine too. We can answer those questions to the best of our ability, being that we are Detroit Lion fans. But we do what, like Nate, purist, Jay, purist of football. We look at other teams too. We love football, so
we're fans of the game.
We fans of the game. So just ask us.
Yep.
Awesome.
Send us questions.
Well, any final thoughts for y'all before we wrap up?
No, just happy Father's Day to everybody.
Happy Father's Day to everybody out
future
there.
Fathers right here.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Shout out to my dad.
Yes,
Rest in
sir.
peace.
Rest in peace.
Spend time with your fathers as much as you can, because you never know. Tomorrow's never promised.
Yes, sir.
So definitely spend time with your father. Enjoy it. Have a good time. Have a beer. As always, fuck the Packers, fuck the Bears, fuck the Vikings. We're out. Have a good evening.
Peace.
We'll see you on the other side in 2 weeks.
One ass cheek, 3 toes, we coming for the throne. Detroit Lions roar, ain't no stopping our zone. From Ford Field to the streets, we represent the pride. One ass cheek, 3 toes, we on the rise. Gibbs making plays, electrifying the game. J-Mo and Laporta catching bombs, putting points on the name. Penny holding it down, protecting the line. McNair bringing the pressure every single time. One ass cheek, 3 toes, we coming for the throne. Detroit Lions roar, ain't no stopping our zone. From Ford Field to the streets, we represent the pride. One ass cheek, 3 toes, we on the rise. We ain't backing down, ain't no fear in our eyes. We hungry for that win, we reaching for the skies. Detroit Lions forever, that's the battle cry. One ass cheek, 3 toes, to the day we die.